Hi, what's up? My name is Adam, and you are on Cyber Raccoon channel. Today I'm going to tell you about Game Among Us, Bewitching Imposter. Subscribe our channel, rate this video, and you will always be aware of what to play today. It is curious to note how in this delicate period, marked by lockdown and social distancing, players, and not, have found in social games a real tool to stay in touch. After all, communication is the basis of this peculiar subgenre, but it is the essential concept of its games that instantly conquers users, even those less accustomed to video ludus. This was recently demonstrated by Fall Guys, Ultimate Knockout, a battle royale-like game that grinded impressive numbers by transposing the typical dynamics of the craziest TV shows to the screen. First of all, the Japanese Takeshi's Castle. The other famous example is Among Us, an extremely fascinating case that we decided to analyze in a review, ignoring the fact that this is a 2018 release. Blame it on YouTube and Twitch. After all, it is thanks to them that this little indie found, this year alone, the success that its creators could never have predicted. So, who is the real imposter? Lupus in Fabula meets Cronenbergian horror. Just like the aforementioned Fall Guys, Among Us also reworks a formula already widely tested in other products, coinciding in this case with parlor games based on the typical whodunit dynamics. In the small survival of inner sloth, therefore, the players are catapulted into a sci-fi scenario to complete a series of tasks. Among them, however, there is an imposter, who will do everything to prevent the former companions from completing the mission, hindering them and finally killing them. So far, nothing particularly innovative, it must be said. The real innovation lies rather in the mechanics with which Among Us prepares players for the emerging riddle, prompting each of them to work together in order to identify the black sheep, which in the meantime will be astutely assembling its own alibi. A typical multiplayer game takes place in lobbies capable of hosting up to 10 players, from which 1 to 3 imposters will be selected based on the preferences chosen. The crew members, the crewmates, will proceed with the completion of the tasks assigned to them, represented by a pool of mini-games and puzzles with almost immediate resolution. We will find ourselves tinkering with the controls of a reactor and cleaning the ventilation ducts of a spaceship, all while someone plots the extermination of the entire team. In this singular context, taking on the role of the crewmate is equivalent to perceiving an atmosphere of constant terror. Every second spent in the narrow corridors of the spaceship, the Skeld, could be the last for the fragile crew members. We discover how behind the cartoonish mask of Among Us there is an authentic and brutal horror, an experience that undoubtedly aims at mere fun, but which at times manages, deliberately or not, to instill the most genuine anxiety in its players. A very different situation concerns the imposter, whose only task is to eliminate up to the last participant, in one way or another. The wolf that wanders among the lambs will have only 2 commands at his disposal: kill and sabotage. The imposter will be able to personally get rid of the other players, using the limited field of vision to score brutal kills in the shadows. To simplify this thankless job, the rogue will also be able to sabotage the systems safeguarded by the crew, a move that he can use to his advantage to keep players away from the most vulnerable crewmates. You might think the core gameplay coincides with the silent chases between imposters and crewmate, but that's not the case. The most important phase of any match is the reunion, triggered following the discovery of a corpse or voluntarily requested by a player. At this juncture, each participant will be able to have their say in an attempt to exonerate themselves, justifying potentially suspicious actions or pointing the finger at any imposter. Whether guilty or innocent, the one who receives the most votes will be expelled into the cosmic void. Another very successful Among Us mechanic is about ghosts. Whenever a player is eliminated, he will be able to continue to wander around the map in the form of a ghost and will support his teammates in an attempt to win the game. Ghosts will still be able to complete their tasks, filling the related completion bar to be able to end the game, and for that slug the imposter it will be game over. The exhilarating reactions shown by the players during the match confirm the surprising effectiveness of the formula chosen by Innersloth. It is equally extraordinary to observe how the same users have expanded the usual functioning of some mechanics. Why settle for a text chat when you can meet in the voice chat of Discord? A great game in a small box. Among Us may have captivated millions of or presumed players, but it is by no means a perfect title. We are still talking about a production born from 3 heads, which until 2 years ago would not have even dreamed of having to host so many crewmates and imposters on their ship. Have you caught the imposter? Completed all homework? Congratulations, the victory is yours. The first limits of survival therefore coincide with this necessary premise. In 2018, the year of its debut on mobile devices and PC, Steam Among Us could count about 50 players connected simultaneously, while this year it has to deal with a colossal community, attracted by the increasingly influential voices of streamers and content creators. As a direct consequence, connecting to a public game becomes a real challenge and, often, being able to play is almost impossible. Innersloth is working to improve its infrastructure, but in the meantime we will want to participate in the private lobbies of some acquaintances. By shifting the focus to the game itself, the extreme simplicity of Among Us is recognizable both in its concept and in its design. The essential graphic style strikes with the bright colors of the characters and the gloomy settings of the three main maps, the aforementioned spaceship from the Skeld, a planetary base, Polis, and a headquarters, Mira HQ. The level design of each scenario develops horizontally starting from a large central area, from which a system of corridors branches off that leads to the numerous rooms of the location, which we will keep track of through a practical map. None of the three maps revealed any particular weaknesses, but we can say that the Skeld is certainly the best choice for novice players. Both Mira HQ and Polis reveal more complex, almost labyrinthine structures, capable of embarrassing even the most experienced users. All the scenarios wisely use the limited visibility offered to the player, challenging the aspiring imposter to make the most of the blind spots of the unsuspecting crewmate and raising, for the latter, the tension arising from the perennial risk of leaving the skin. The dual mobile/PC nature of the production highlights further defects, strictly related to the control system and the technical sector. With regard to this last point, we specify that the development team is currently working on a series of updates which, presumably, will also improve the appearance of the game. Users of smartphones and tablets will be able to interact with their alter ego using a rather basic touch control system, which unfortunately leads to the execution of imprecise and, sometimes, completely incorrect movements. We had no problem using the mouse and keyboard instead, moving around the map with the cursor or, alternatively, moving through the classic WASD combination. Returning to the subject on the visual front, the low resolution of some textures will be a real eyesore for Windows players, but it will hardly bother those who are using the Android and iOS version. Subscribe our channel, rate this video, and you will always be aware of what to play today.